Zulu kingdom. You might be wanna know about the Zulu history. The Zulu were originally a major clan is what today Northern KwaZulu Natal, founded ca 1909 by Zulu Kamalandela. In Nguni language or isiSulu, iZulu means heaven. See, iZulu means heaven. amaZulu, who are people of KwaZulu Natal, amaZulu means people from the heaven, or people of heaven, or people of the sky. So iZulu means heaven or sky. amaZulu means people from the heaven. So who was the first king of Zulu? Who was the first Zulu king? On a first monarch of the Zulu, amaZulu, is called Zulu 1 Kamalandela. And the residence that original in KwaZulu Natal is called Nomonga. Now let's touch the history of the Zulu kingdom. The Zulu kingdom, which is KwaZulu, sometimes referred to as the Zulu Empire or the Kingdom of Zululand. This was a monarch in southern Africa that extended along the coast of used to call Indian Ocean, but a lot of Africa they don't call it Indian Ocean. The ocean, which is so called before Indian Ocean, we don't call it, we call it African Ocean. As Africa, we found out that was a lie, because the Indian Ocean is in India. Our parts, we call it African Ocean. So the Zulu Empire or Kingdom of Zululand was a monarch in southern Africa that extended along the coast of African Ocean from the Tugela River in south to Pongola River north. The kingdom grew and dominated much of what is today called KwaZulu Natal in South Africa. In 1879, the British Empire invaded and began the Anglo-Zulu War. After an initial Zulu victory at the Battle of Isandlwana in January, the British Army regrouped and defeated the Zulu in July during the Battle of Ulundi. The area was absorbed into the colony of Natal and later became a part of the Union of South Africa, which now is so called South Africa. So now let's check the Shaka Zulu. So Shaka was illegitimate son of Senzangakona, who was the chief of Zulu for that time. So he was born in 1787. He and his mother Nandi were exiled by Senzangakona, and they found a refuge with the Mtetwa. So Shaka decided to fight as a warrior under the Jobe, and then under Jobe's successor Dingiswayo, a leader of the Mtetwa paramountcy. When Senzangakona died, Dingiswayo helped Shaka to become a king of Zulu. So after Dingiswayo's death at the hand of Zwido, king of the Ndwadwe, around 1818, Shaka assumed the leadership of the entire Mtetwa alliance. Shaka initiated many military, social, cultural, political reform, forming the world organized in the centralized Zulu state. The most important reform involved the transformation of the army through the innovative tactics and weapons, and the showdown with the spiritual leadership, witch doctor, effective ensure the subservience of the Zulu Church of the state. Another important reform integrated defeated the clan in the Zulu on the basis of the full equality with the promotion in the army and the civil service become matter of the merit rather than due to circumstances of birth. So the alliance under his leadership survived Zwide faced assault at the Battle of Mkoke Hill 1818. Within 2 years, Shaka had defeated Zwide at the Battle of Mhlatuzwe River in 1820 and it broke up the Ndwadwe alliance, some of whom became murderous campaign against the other Nguni tribes and clans, setting in motion what became known as Gifakane or Mfekane. So then the mass migration of a tribe fleeing the remnant and Ndwana fleeing the Zulu. So the day's toll had never been suspected or determined, but the whole region became a near populated. So then Shaka was succeeded by Dingane, but before that, so when the Guru tribe setting up in motion what became known as Gifakane or Mfekane, a mass migration tribe fleeing the remnants of the Ndwadwe fleeing the Zulu. So the day's toll has never been satisfactorily determined, but the whole region became a near depopulated. So normal estimate for the day's toll during the period range of 1 million to 2 million people. Oh my God. These numbers were however controversial. So by 1822, Shaka had conquered the empire, covering an area of 80,000 square miles, which is 210,000 kilometers square. So an offshoot of the Zulu, the Amandebele, better known for the history of Matabele, created ever larger empire under their king Mzilikas, including the larger part of the Highveld in the modern day Zimbabwe. So then let's check then now what about Dingane reign? Shaka was then succeeded by Dingane, his half brother, who conspired by Umhlanga, who is another half brother, and Bona and Induna to murder him in 1828. So following his assassination, Dingana murdered Umhlanga and took over the throne. One of his first royal acts was to execute off all his royal kin. In 3 years that followed, he also executed many past supporters of Shaka in order to secure his position. One of exceptional to these push, or you can say purge, was Mpan, and another half brother who was considered too weak to be threatened at all time. Now let's take the clash of the Votrika for the people who don't know what is Votrika. Now let's go. Before the encounter with the British, the Zulu was the first confronted with the Boers. In attempt, who are the Boers? Boer are Dutch origin, or I could say Boer are descendant of the Dutch-speaking free Bahas of the Eastern Cape frontier in South Africa during 17th century, 18th century, 19th century. From 1652 to 1795, the Dutch East India Company controlled this area, but the United Kingdom incorporated it into the British Empire 1806. So those are Boer. So now the clash of the Votrika now. So Zulu were confronted with the Boers in attempt to form their own state as a protection against the British, the Boer began moving across the Orange River northward. While traveling, they first collided within the Bela Kingdom and then with the Dingane Zulu Kingdom. In October 1837, the Votrika leader Pierre Retief visited Dingane on a royal crawl to negotiate a land deal for the Votrikas. In the north, about 1,000 Votrika wagons began descending to the Drakensberg mountain from the Orange Free State into what is now KwaZulu Natal. Dingane asked that the relief and his party retrieve some cattle stolen from him by the local chief as the part of treaty for the land for the Boer. This relief and his men did, returning on 3rd February 1838. The next day a treaty was signed wherein Dingane ceded all the land South Africa of the Tugela River to Mzimvubu River to the Votrika. Celebration followed on 6 January. At the peak dance, Dingane leapt to his feet and yelled, "Bambani abatakati," isiZulu meaning seize the wizards. So this was the relief, and his men were overpowered, taken to the near hill Kwamatiwane and executed. And some allege that they were killed for withholding some of the cattle they recovered. But it's like that to deal with the plot overpower the Votrikas. Dingane army then attacked and massacred a group of 250 Votrika men who are Boer, women and children kept nearby. The site of this massacre today is called Weaning, a Dutch for to weep. The remaining Votrika elected new leader Andre Pretorius, who led cruising attack on the Zulu forces in Dingane at the bottom of the river in 16 December 1838 when 15,000 Zulu in peace means warrior, attacked the group of 470 Votrika settlers led by Pretorius. See, now we're not done yet. Let's go to Mpande's reign. Following his defeat, Mpande's reign, Dingane burned down his royal house and fled north. Mpande, the half-brother who had been spared from Dingane Puge, defeated with 17,000 followers, and together with Pretorius, who is the leader of the Votrika, the new one who elected, and the Votrika went to war with the Dingane. Dingane was assassinated near the modern Swaziland border. Mpande then took over rulership of the Zulu nation. So this is how Mpande took over after the days of Dingane. So following the campaign against Dingane in 1839, the Votrikas under Pretorius formed the Boer Republic of Natalia, which is southern of Tugela and the west of British settlement in the port of Natal, now is called Durban. Mpande and Pretorius maintained peaceful relations. However, 1842 war broke out between British and the Boer, resulting in the British annexation of the Natalia. Then Mpande shifted his allegiance to the British and remained on a good term with them. In 1843, Mpande ordered the purge of perceived dissident within his kingdom. They resulted in numerous deaths and fleeing thousands of refugees into the neighboring area, including the British-controlled Natal. Many of the refugees fled with the cattle. Mpande began raiding the surrounding area, culminating in the invasion of the Swaziland in 1852. However, the British pressured him into withdrawing, which he did shortly. Now, let's go to the man which is very known. Petreon reigned in 1875. At this time, the battle of succession broke out between two Mpande sons, Petreon and Mbuyazi. This culminated in 1856 with the Battle of Nonankusuka, which left Mbuyazi dead. Petreon then set about uprising his father's authority when Mpande died of old age in 1872. Petreon took over as a ruler. Now, let's talk about the British conquest. On 18 December 1878, with the intent of instigating of war with the Zulu, Sir Henry Barofrere, on his own initiative and without approval of the British government, presented ultimatum to the Zulu king Petreon in terms which he could not possibly comply. The Zulu army be disbanded and the Zulu accepted British resident. British then forced across the Tugela River at the end of December 1878. Initially, the British suffered heavy defeat at the Battle of Isandlwana on 22nd January in 1879, where the Zulu army killed more than 1,000 British soldiers in a single day. The Zulu army killed more than 1,000 British soldiers in a single day. The Zulu deployment at Isandlwana showed the well-organized tactic system that had made the Zulu kingdom successful to many decades. This constituted the worst defeat the British army had ever suffered at the hand of the native African fighting force. The defeat prompted a redirection of war effort, and the British, through outnumbered, began winning the victory. Culmination in the siege of Ulundi, the Zulu capital city, and subsequently defeat of the Zulu kingdom. Now let's go to the division, like how. So this is the Battle of Isandlwana, now, which is 1879. Let's go to division and death of Petreon. So we see Petreon was captured a month after his defeat and then exiled to Cape Town. The British passed the rule of the Zulu kingdom onto 18 kinglets, each with his own sub-kingdom. Then conflict soon erupted between these two sub-kingdoms. In 18, you see they start to divide now the Zulu kingdom. Petreon was allowed to visit England. He had audience with the Queen Victoria and other famous personages before being allowed to return to Zululand to be reinstated as a king. In 1883, Petreon was put in a place as a king of a buffer reserve territory, much reduced from his original kingdom. Later that year, however, Petreon was attacked by Ulundi, by Zibebu, which is one of the 13 kinglets. Ntwayo was wounded and fled. Ntwayo died February 1884, possibly poisoned. Then his son Dinuzulu, then 15, inherited the throne. Now the academic Roberto Bresci noted that the Zululand had a flag from 1884 to 1897, but his pure conjecture, as the AP Bagas note in his book, consisted of 3 horizontal bands in equal width of gold, green, and red. Now, so then the son of Twayo, he took over. Now then, what happened when Dinuzulu reigned, and how did he exile? Which was 1883. See 1883. Who is the son of Twayo? Dinuzulu made a pact with the Boer of his own, promised them land in the return for their aid. Boer were led by Louis Botha. Dinuzulu and Boer defeated Zimbabwe in 18. So Dinuzulu, he went and cooperated with Boer, and he went to defeat the other Zulu brother, which is Zimbabwe, in 1884, because remember the British split them in a different kinglet. So he who is the son of Twayo, he went and cooperated with Boer. They were granted about half of the Zululand individuals as a farm and formed the independent Republic of Free. This alarmed the British, who wanted to prevent the Boers access to the harbor. The British then annexed the Zululand in 1897. The New Zulu became involved in a later conflict with the rivals. And then in 1906, the New Zulu was accused of being behind the Bambata Rebellion. He was arrested and put in trial by the British for high treason and public violence. In 1909, he was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment on St. Helena Island. When Union of South Africa was formed, Union of South Africa, which is South Africa so-called now, was formed, Louis Botha became a first prime minister. He arranged for his old ally, the New Zulu, to return to South Africa and live in exile on the farm in the Transvaal, where he died 1913. The New Zulu son, Solomon Kadinuzulu, was never recognized by South African authorities, the Zulu king, only as a local chief. But he was increasingly regarded the king of chiefs by the political intellectuals such as John Langalibalele Dube and his ordinary Zulu people. In 1923, Solomon was founded organization Inkatha ya KwaZulu to promote his royal claims, which became Mobiban, and then he revived in the 1970s by Mongasu Dubutelezi, chief minister of the KwaZulu Bantustan. In December 1951, Solomon's son Cyprian Bekwezulu Solomon was officially recognized as a paramount chief in the Zulu people, but real power over ordinary Zulu people lay with the South African government official working through the local chief, who could be removed from the office for the failure to cooperate. Now, let's take the recent history. KwaZulu Bantustan KwaZulu was the Bantustan in South Africa, intended by the apartheid government as the semi-independent homeland of Zulu people, people of heaven, people from the heaven, people from the sky, meaning of Zulu. The capital was moved from Nongoma to Ulundi in 1980. It was later until the abolition in 1994 by the chief Mangosuthu Buthelezi of the Zulu royal family and head of the Inkatha Freedom Party IFP. It was merged with the surrounding of South Africa province of KwaZulu to form the new province of the KwaZulu Natal. The name KwaZulu translates roughly a place of Zulu, or more from the Zululand, and Zulu people, amaZulu, are people from the sky, or people of the sky, or people from the heaven. Now, if you FaceTime here, go share this video, subscribe to our platform so you can go and follow me on Instagram so you can get an update every time. Follow on our Twitter and then you can get update every time. Thanks so much for your time, and I'ma say peace.